gentlemen, may I please have your attention? Please have your tickets in hand before you board the plane. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Johan Castell and you're watching Wings. On the show today, a massive heat wave strikes North India. We give you our recommendations for where to go to beat the heat. How Buddha's birthday is celebrated worldwide. Environmentalists, including a descendant of Darwin, retraced Charles Darwin's circumnavigation of the Earth. Let's begin. A severe heat wave struck North India this week, causing schools to shut down. Let us show you our favorite places in the country where you can experience cooler climes. The Indian Meteorological Department issued warnings of severe heatwave conditions, with Najafgarh, a suburb of Delhi, recording the highest temperature nationwide, with 47.4 degrees Celsius on Monday this week. Other states, including Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab and Rajasthan, have also closed schools in response to the extreme heat. India frequently experiences scorching summer temperatures, but scientific research indicates climate change is making heat waves longer, more frequent and more intense. When intense heat waves strike many parts of India, where can you go to beat the heat? Here are our top recommendations for places to visit in India to avoid a heat wave, offering cooler climates and pleasant weather. Known as the Queen of the Hills, Shimla offers a cool and refreshing escape with its picturesque landscapes and colonial architecture. Nestled in the Kullu Valley, Manali is famous for its scenic beauty, adventure sports, and cool temperatures. Offering breathtaking landscapes and a cool desert climate, Leh Ladakh is ideal for those seeking a unique and chilly destination. Famous for its tea gardens, stunning views of the Himalayas and pleasant weather, Darjeeling is an excellent retreat from the heat. Located in the Western Ghats, Munnar is known for its tea plantations, lush greenery and cool temperatures. Known as the Queen of the Hills, Mussoorie offers stunning views, pleasant weather, and charming colonial-era architecture. Known for its stunning landscape, Kashmir remains cool and pleasant even in the summer. Finally, there is South India's Kodaikanal, where a wildlife-themed flower show is currently taking place as part of the summer festival. The 10-day exhibition features approximately 500,000 flowers, meticulously arranged into the shapes of animals. The cooler weather following a recent heat wave has boosted tourist attendance, with rain showers expected to continue for some time. Gautam Buddha's birthday took place this week. With festivities across the Buddhist world, let us show you how it was celebrated.
Buddha Purnima or Vesak Day is one of the holiest days in the Buddhist calendar. The day commemorates three major events in the life of Lord Buddha: his birth, his enlightenment, and his death. This year, it fell on the 23rd of May, on the day of the full moon. All around the world, Buddhists celebrate the occasion with great devotion, joy, and sacred rituals. Let's see how the 2568th birth anniversary of Lord Buddha was welcomed across the globe. This is Kathmandu's famous Bodhnath Stupa, one of the holiest pilgrimage sites in Tibetan Buddhism. Monks and devotees gathered to celebrate the sacred Vesak day. Devotees came from far and wide to be present at the temple. They were engrossed in chanting and reading sacred texts, showing gratitude and seeking Lord Buddha's blessings. In India's Varanasi city and Gaya town, hundreds of devotees gathered for holy celebrations. Several Buddhist monks took out a religious procession in Bihar's Bodh Gaya pilgrimage site, where Lord Buddha had attained enlightenment. In the city of Sarnath in Varanasi, devout Buddhists flocked to the Tibetan temple, where he had delivered his first sermon. Everyone present offered prayers for their well-being and prosperity. At Myanmar's Shwedagon Pagoda, thousands of Buddhist devotees assembled to mark Vesak Day. The temple is one of the holiest sites related to him and believed to house holy relics of Lord Buddha himself. It boasts of a giant marble platform dotted with smaller shrines. At Indonesia's Mendut Temple in Mang Lang, central Java province, thousands of devotees offered prayers on the holy Vesak Day. The monastery was decked up with flowers and festive decorations. Devotees and monks alike silently prayed and remembered Lord Buddha, seeking his blessings to tread the path he prescribed with faith. Streets lined with colored lights, lanterns, and Lord Buddha statues. Tens of thousands of devotees flocked to Buddhist temples across the country to take part in religious ceremonies. They also made prayers on the sacred Vesak Day and sought his blessing. A highlight of the festivities was the unique Sri Lankan tradition of food stalls serving free meals to devotees, following the ideal of community service.
It is now nearly 200 years since Charles Darwin set off on his journey around the world, eventually giving shape to his theory of evolution by natural selection. Today, one of his descendants recreates his journey aboard a similar vessel in the Galápagos Islands.
This is the Galápagos Islands, located some 1,000 kilometers off the coast of Ecuador. This is where Charles Darwin stopped on his circumnavigation of the Earth from 1831 to 1836 aboard the HMS Beagle. Hired as their naturalist, Darwin studied many animal species on these islands. He developed the famous theory on the evolution of the species through natural selection. Today, a whopping 97% of these islands are reserved for wildlife, and conservation work is of utmost importance. Nearly 2 centuries after Charles Darwin's historic voyage, a group of environmentalists set sail from the English port of Plymouth to recreate his journey around the world. Now, in the Galapagos, they find an archipelago markedly different from the one that inspired Darwin's theory of evolution. Aboard the Oosterschelde, a meticulously restored 3-masted ship, the Darwin 200 project has retracted Darwin's route since August. This scientific initiative, which has been in the making for a decade, aims to train the next generation of conservation leaders. Among the crew is botanist Sarah Darwin, a direct descendant of Charles Darwin, who joined the team that arrived on April 25th at San Cristobal Island.
I think probably the main difference is that, that there are people working now to protect the islands. At the time of Darwin, that wasn't really a concept that people were worrying about. And I think if he were able to come back now and see the efforts that everybody is making, both locally and globally, to protect these extraordinary islands and their biodiversity, I think he'd be really, really excited and impressed.
These environmentalists will retrace Darwin's nearly 200-year-old journey to the Galápagos and follow Darwin's path around the world while following his diary.
We're sailing all over the world and come to places where he went, step in his footsteps, but encountering a totally different world. After 200 years, this world has changed a lot. We can read his diaries and see what's happening in our real world at this moment, and that's super fascinating.
Young environmentalists sailing on the Oosterschelde are part of a project to create a group of 200 Darwinian heirs who will advocate for the environment amidst a global climate crisis marked by droughts, floods, and biodiversity loss. New science enthusiasts over 18 can join the project at each port.
I love the idea that we're doing something completely different here. We're engaging with young people, we're bringing them to different places around the world so that they can see what other conservation projects are doing. We're creating an extraordinary network of young, incredible people.
Sarah Darwin first visited the Galápagos in 1995 to illustrate a guide to endemic plants and later studied native tomatoes. Now she accompanies future scientists inspired by her great-great-grandfather. As the Oosterschelde continues its journey, it carries the spirit of Darwin's adventure and a renewed commitment to protecting our planet for future generations. If you want to help preserve Darwin's legacy, you can step aboard in one of the future ports where the Oosterschelde will dock. From the Galápagos, the ship will continue its voyage until 2025, making stops in Tahiti, New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa, among other locations.
Have you heard about a carnival in Berlin that has been held since 1996? Or a Catholic festival that has both humans and buffaloes as worshippers? Next, we bring you a story of culturally eclectic festive events worldwide. Music, it's said, has the power to change the world. And one woman from Gambia is using its force to rewrite African musical traditions. Meet Sona Jobarte, the first professional female kora player who recently took the crowd by storm at the Abidjan Music Festival in Ivory Coast. The kora is a West African stringed instrument, and learning it is restricted only to griot men, musicians or poets who preserve oral history traditions in parts of West Africa. Only they were mandated to maintain the mysteries of this sacred object, until now.
The process of getting to learn the kora was different for me than it was for other members of the family, of course, male members of the family, because kora is an instrument that you usually learn in, it's a very social instrument, so you learn it in your community.
The 21-string instrument exhibits the combined qualities of a lute and a harp and can take decades to master. The Abidjan Music Festival thus stands as a testament to the city's dynamic music scene, presenting niche talents like Sona herself. Do give it a go next year. over to Berlin now, where the much-loved, much-anticipated Carnival of Cultures is back. The 26th edition of the 4-day energetic extravaganza recently brought out thousands of revelers. Colorful costumes, dancing, and festive vibes overtook the city's streets, displaying Berlin's cultural richness. According to the organizers, around 60 groups with about 650,000 participants and onlookers joined in the celebration this year. They brought the best of their creativity to the packed parades. Many participants boasted rich traditional outfits, representing their cultural roots. A spellbinding sight was of some of the revelers wearing the Hanfu, a traditional garment of the Chinese Han ethnic group.
I stayed in China for around 5 years, and right now I can feel the Chinese vibe in Berlin, which is incredible. I saw so many people wearing the beautiful garment, and it makes me feel happy. I feel like I'm in China again.
But for some others, it was about going completely artistic and experimental, from enchanting butterfly costumes to stilted walkers towering over everyone. The parades were eclectic. There were also talented musicians, beating energy and enthusiasm into the participants and its spectators. This annual event, held since 1996, showcases the diverse cultural heritage of Berlin's residents. It is a genuinely unmissable extravaganza. Over to the Philippines. Last on the list is the town of Pulilan, north of the capital Manila, where scores of buffaloes participated in a festival called the Kneeling Carabao Festival. Over 270 carabaos, a type of buffalo, carried colorfully decorated carriages with local farmers to the town's church. A beautiful sight in this 2-kilometer-long parade is when the animals devoutly kneel in front of the church. This simple gesture leaves the spectators especially delighted.
I hope for a great harvest, and I hope we are blessed with rain so everyone can get a bountiful harvest.
We value a good harvest every year, which every farmer prays for to their patron, Saint Isidro Labrador. The carabaos kneel in an act of showing gratitude to their revered saint.
When people think of operas, they think of dramatic concerts in some charming European city. But do you know about a rare, centuries-old opera piece whose scores were guarded in a church in the Bolivian Amazon? Take a look at our next story to find out how it was brought to life, possibly for the first time ever.
In the serene town of San Javier, the dancers of the indigenous opera group staged a rare Baroque opera piece at the town's local church. Standing before the altar, the singers embodied a dialogue between Saint Francis and Saint Ignatius, two venerable Christian priests. The singers chanted in the language of their nomadic ancestors, dressed up in false beards, black tunics, and sandals, a truly unique sight.
Esta es la única ópera indígena en Bésiro Es una ópera.
This is the only indigenous Becerro opera. It's an opera that has everything. It's a festive opera because of its verses and its appeal. Also, we have enriched it musically by including different ancestral wind percussion instruments.
Insertándole todos los varios instrumentos ancestrales de percusión, de viento.
The musical piece dates back to 1740. Historians estimate that the work was written anonymously by an evangelized indigenous person. The Chiquitanos, indigenous people in another church in the town, carefully guarded the score. What also makes the work unique is the dialect it is written in, called Becerro, which sadly stands endangered today. A year ago, the opera group recreated the work in its original dialect, to the violins, guitars, and cello of the Baroque music. They added drums and other native instruments like the sananax, a sort of bamboo trumpet.
Yo creo que es un gran momento en la vida.
It is a big step in the life of this musical tradition that we are developing here. And having the only opera in the world with the lyrics in the local language is already a great achievement for us.
Ya es una ganancia, pero ponerlo.
This one-of-a-kind Becerro piece looks set on adding a new cultural touch to the world of operas.
That's a wrap on this week's Wings. But remember, we'll be back next weekend with more experiential travel content from around the world. Don't miss it. Until then, it's me, Johan Castell, signing off. Goodbye.